Ok, hoy vamos a aprender sobre los verbos de la bota, boot verbs. There's three different types, E to IE, E to I, and O to UE. So the first verb we're going to look at is an E to IE verb, pensar, to think or to plan to. So if you're thinking of or planning on doing something, and to conjugate it, first we're just going to treat it like any old AR verb, the o, as, a, amos, an. But then we have this E that's going to change to an IE for some of the forms. So vamos a ver. Yo pienso, tú piensas, él, usted piensa. Nosotros pensamos, vosotros pensáis. We don't really learn vosotros in my class, but I left it on there just for fun. And piensan. Okay, so why do we think these are called boot verbs? Yeah, so when we put them in our normal conjugation chart, because they always go kind of in the same spots, the forms of the verb that have the E to the IE form kind of the shape of a boot. So that's why it's called that. All right, muy bien. So remember, pensar, to think or to plan to. So yo quiero saber qué piensas comer para la cena. Yo pienso comer curry. ¿Y tú? ¿Qué piensas comer? All right, another verb we're going to look at, preferir, to prefer. So again, this E is going to change to an IE, but only inside the boot. So yo prefiero, tú prefieres, él y usted prefiere, nosotros preferimos, preferís, prefieren. Y yo quiero saber, ¿tú prefieres la Coca-Cola o el Pepsi? ¿Tú prefieres la Coca-Cola o el Pepsi? Good. And just to point out too, this is an IR verb, so remember we have to conjugate it like an IR. O, es, imos, en. Okay? Muy bien. So these boot verbs can be in any form. Perfecto. All right, querer, to want. You've probably heard this one before. Yo quiero. I want to. So now we know why it's yo quiero and not yo quiero, if you've ever wondered that. Tú quieres. Él, usted quiere. Nosotros queremos. Queréis. Quieren. Okay. Yo quiero saber, I want to know, ¿cuál película quieres ver? Yo quiero ver The Trial of the Chicago 7. ¿Y tú cuál película quieres ver? Ok, otro verbo, entender, entender. Yo entiendo, tú entiendes, él, ella, usted entiende, entendemos, entendéis, entienden. Okay, entender, to understand. ¿Tú entiendes los verbos de la bota? Are you getting this? Are you understanding this? ¿Tú entiendes? Yo quiero saber. All right, muy bien. Y empezar, to begin. So empezar also is one of these boot verbs. So we say empiezo, I begin. Yo empiezo, tú empiezas. Él, ella, usted empieza. Empezamos, empezáis, empiezan. Okay. ¿A qué hora empieza la clase de español? ¿A qué hora empieza la clase de español? Okay, so let's take a look. Some other boot verbs. We have cerrar. We say cierro, I close, or cierra tu Chromebook, close your Chromebook. Mentir, yo miento, I lie. Comenzar, la clase comienza is like the same thing as saying la clase empieza. They're both the same thing. Encender, to turn on. So I might say enciende tu video, turn your video on, or enciende tu Chromebook. And then nevar, to snow. So if we want to say it's snowing outside, we say nieva, nieva, with that E to IE stem change. Okay? So now there's other verbs that have an E to I stem change. So repetir, for example, inside the boot, once again, this E doesn't change to an IE, it just changes to an I. So we have repito, repites, repite, repetimos, repetís, and repiten. So it's an IR verb, so we conjugate it just like an IR verb with o, es, imos, en. But then inside the boot, we have to change the E to an I. ¿Tú repites las palabras en la clase de español? Do you repeat what the things your teacher says? I recommend it. Yo quiero saber, ¿tú repites las palabras? All right, muy bien. Servir, to serve, is another verb that does that. So we say, yo sirvo, tú sirves, él, ella, usted sirve, servimos, servís, sirven. Ellos, ellas, ustedes sirven. ¿Tú sirves la comida para tu familia? Pedir, to ask for. Yo pido, tú pides, él, ella, usted pide, nosotros pedimos, pedís, piden. Okay, so to order, to ask for, like in a restaurant. So yo quiero saber, ¿qué pides en tu restaurante favorito? Por ejemplo, en Chipotle yo pido ensalada con pollo y guacamole. ¿Y tú qué pides en tu restaurante favorito? Okay, so some other verbs that do this, we have medir, yo mido, I measure. Seguir, to follow, yo sigo las instrucciones, I follow directions. Corregir, to correct, yo corrijo, I correct your tests. Conseguir would be like to get or to obtain. Tú consigues las cosas que necesitas. Do you get the things you need? Sonreír, to smile. So yo sonrío, to smile. Yo sonrío. And then reír is to laugh. So yo río mucho. I laugh a lot. Okay, the last one are O to UE verbs. So the verb poder, for example, to be able to. We already know this one. We say this all the time, right? Puedo ir al baño. So maybe you've wondered why it's not puedo ir al baño. Now we know. So we say puedo, puedes, puede, nosotros podemos, vosotros podéis, and pueden. Okay, muy bien. So this O changes to a UE. And yo quiero saber, ¿puedes hacer rueda de carro, a cartwheel? ¿Tú puedes? Yo no puedo. Yo no soy buena para la gimnasia. ¿Y tú? ¿Puedes hacer rueda de carro? Another one, this is a really popular one, dormir, to sleep. Yo duermo, tú duermes, él, ella, usted duerme, dormimos, dormís, duermen. Okay. ¿A qué hora duermes normalmente? Yo duermo a las 9. Me gusta mucho dormir. ¿Y tú a qué hora duermes? Almorzar, to eat lunch. Almorzar. So in Spanish, there's straight up a verb that means to eat lunch. It's kind of cool. So we'd say, yo almuerzo, I eat lunch. Tú almuerzas, you eat lunch. Él, ella, usted almuerza. Nosotros almorzamos, almorzáis. And almuerzan. ¿Qué almuerzas todos los días? Yo almuerzo ensalada. ¿Y tú qué almuerzas? Okay, the last one, el verbo jugar. So jugar is a little different because normally we have O to UE, but jugar is actually a U to UE, but we kind of stick it in there because it's the only U to UE one. So we'll put it with the other ones. All right, so jugar, you've probably heard this one too, right? Videojuegos. We don't say video jugos. That sounds weird. We say juego, juegas, juega, jugamos, jugáis, and juegan. Okay, good. Jugar. Oh, I didn't put the meaning of this one, but jugar, to play, right? Jugar videojuegos. All right. ¿Y tú juegas un deporte? Yo no juego muchos deportes. Me gusta correr, pero no juego deportes. ¿Y tú juegas un deporte? All right, so lastly, some other O to UE verbs, costar, to cost, except we normally only put that in like the he, she, it form or the they form because you don't really say I cost. That sounds kind of weird. You say it costs or they cost. So we just say cuesta or cuestan. Doler, to hurt. Me duele la cabeza. My head hurts. It's got that O to UE. Encontrar, to find. Encuentro, I find. Probar, to try. Yo pruebo las papas, I try them. Recordar, to remember. Yo recuerdo, or like the song from Coco, I think is like recuérdame. And then contar, to count. Cuento, yo cuento, I count. Okay, muy bien. So we just went over a lot of verbs, and it might seem a little bit confusing at the moment, but remember, these are just gonna we're just gonna be practicing these, and the more that we practice them, the more they're just gonna come to you, and you'll be like, oh, that sounds weird. That doesn't sound weird. So we'll be practicing these a lot over the next couple of days, and hopefully you'll feel more confident with them the more we practice. Adios.